Mr. Brian, Mr. Brian, please confirm if you can hear me and if you can see my screen. All right, let me hope you can hear and see my screen. I'm gonna make it snappy. This was where we left off, and we'll be continuing from there. And from the this is what we are trying to create a clone of this page, and if I just maybe open it wide so that you can see. So we are trying to achieve that. So we left off at this point, so we are going to the middle part. We are done with the right part of it. So how do we do? I will just locate the right part. We did from there. I think the middle section is somewhere here. Alright, this part right here. So let me also open my CSS somewhere by the side. Okay, so that I can easily. Okay, please, Mr. Brown, you are raising up your hand. Please, I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Please, I cannot hear you. If you can make use of the chat section, or probably check if you are muted so that you can unmute yourself. Okay. So I just hope we all are on the same page, and I will just proceed from there. Remember, the goal is not just to uh, build, it's also tell you how to implement your thoughts, the basic concepts, the best practices that you need to know while writing your code. And maybe in the end, hopefully, we can complete the remaining part of this within the very short time. This is our last session for this cohort, and I will maybe say one or two regarding the capstone project. All right. So I'll be going to the Mr. Brian. Do you want to say something? I still cannot hear you. Please, if you can hear me, I cannot hear you. You say you weren't getting it. What were you not getting? Just type on the chat. I can read your chat. Maybe I can say one or two. I don't know why I'm not hearing you. What are you not getting? don't understand how I'm doing this. Were you there in our previous sessions? Oh, I see. Um, we've done a lot. We've done really a lot, and I will suggest that you try and rewatch the previous session. Uh, I think I used to share them on the WhatsApp page. You need to rewatch the previous sessions. There is no way I can start all over again right now. There will not be enough time. Um, I will encourage you to visit our YouTube page so that you can rewatch the previous sessions. Okay? Alright, so but I will still try to draw attention to the previous classes, what I have said, and hopefully you can get a glimpse of what we have done and how we managed to get here. Alright, thank you very much. Alright, we're going to the middle part. What we are trying to do is, in order for us to have a good understanding, I just feel like it's good that we should build as we learn. We build as we learn so that you can see how all of these things come together to make up to something. And the point is, we are using YouTube as a case study. We just want to try to see if we can create the typical YouTube page that you know, so that while we are explaining those concepts, you can see and know how those concepts can be put together to give you a typical project like the YouTube page. So we've started already. This is the original YouTube page. This is what I'm trying to create, and we've been able to achieve a few. This is where we are on our practice file, and so we stopped at this left part of the heading. So today we'll be continuing. We'll finish the heading part and then do this left navigation part here, and maybe we can touch on this part and then we'll call it a cohort. Okay, this is my code right here, and I will go to the middle styling right here. uh, Let me see. Okay, yeah, so let me also open this part. So remember, we have a div here that we call the mid section, the middle. So let's target the middle. Let me target that middle with the class name middle right there. So one of the things I want to do is, from the concept of flex that we talked on in the last class, I want to make that part a flexible heading. So I will just set the display to flex. Set the display to flex, and once I do that, that heading is now a flex board. Okay, so but if you look at the Facebook page, you will discover this text box stretches over. Okay, stretches over. So I will target that text box. Remember, this is the text box here, has a class name of search bar. So I'll target the search bar, search bar. So I'll set the flex. I'll set the flex to flex 1 so that it can stretch all through that particular space we've given it. Okay, the next part is to make the text box look like what we have here. So how do we achieve that? Let me see. Let me place this side by side so that we can see. So that we can see. Let me rearrange this.
Arjun delivered 17 that what your team didn't promise in 4 days. That's not small, friend.
I'm not doing that. I just want to place it side by side so that we can both see them. Okay, so we're trying to copy this styling to make it our own. So one of the things I can do is to adjust the height. Can adjust the height. The search bar, I can set a height. My system is suggesting 40 pixels. 40 pixels is too much. Maybe 38 pixels. 38 pixels is not bad. 36 pixels. So I can set font size to, let's say, maybe 16 pixels. Maybe font family. I set that to area sans serif. So let's see. Okay. So I can also give a little space inside, but then before I do that, let me do border. Let's do border radius. Now if I set a value, maybe let me make it something bigger, so 20 pixels for instance, you will discover it affects both corners, the 4 corners of the page, and this is not what we have here. So how do I do that? My border radius can actually receive 4 values representing the 4 corners, and the corners begins from the top left and moves clockwise around. All right, so I can say maybe, for instance, 20 pixels top left, then maybe 0 pixels for the top right, and then like that to the bottom left. So I'm saying this is top right, top left, top right, and bottom left. So if I save this, so this is what I have. Mr. Brian, are you trying to say something?
No.
Okay, so that's one of those things. Now I can also target, please mute yourself.
Okay, sir.
I can target the now there's what we refer to as a pseudo class. I can use a pseudo class of the placeholder called a placeholder to target the search bar so that I can adjust the placeholder. And how do I do that? I'll just say search bar, then I will put a column. I will say placeholder, placeholder, placeholder. And one of the things I can do there, let me set a padding. The padding, I told you, padding in the space inside of an element. I can increase the fonts, maybe font size. Let me set that to let me see, maybe 15 pixels. Okay, I think it's closer to what we have. All right. So another thing I can do is to set, if you look at this image very well, I'm seeing something that looks like a shadow. So I can set my box shadow, Okay, let me see what this is suggesting. My page is loading. So I can place that, let's say maybe 2 pixels. But then let me remove this background color right here. Press the middle part here. Let me remove this color. Alright, so that we can have, okay, now, so if you see the shadow is right there, but I can set the shadow to be inside. I'll just say insert. Insert simply means the shadow should be inside, and maybe I'll set the transparency to something very low here. Let me say 0. Or maybe let me remove this. We'll come back to this later. I will show you how to set it properly. Now, if you want to remove the border like we did, border 1, and let's change this color to something light, maybe something like this. Okay, let's compare that. Okay, I think it's a little bit thicker, so let's say maybe 2 pixels. 2 pixels should be 2 pixels is too much. Okay, let's just leave it at 1. I think 1 is okay. So this is how we make it look like what we have now. But see, the text there is too close to the edge. So how do we handle that? So we just need to locate our search bar again, and then we set padding to the left. I told you the space inside is called the padding. So we just set padding to the left. Let's say maybe, let's say 15 pixels. If I set 15 pixels, I think it's better like this compared to our design. Yeah. So what do we do next? Let's do the button, the search button. How do we do that? Where is our search button? This is our search button right here. All I just need to do is to target the search button. I'll say dot search btn. That's the name we gave it. And let me give it first thing, maybe a width. Let's say 60. I think maybe 60. Let's say maybe 70. Let's see what 70 is. So I can set the display. Let me set the display to flex so that I can also set the align items. I want the item inside, which is the icon, the search icon inside, to be at the center, and then also justify content to be at the center. So what else I need to target? Let me give a class to the icon. Let me say maybe search icon. Let's call it maybe search icon. And we can target the search icon. We can set the width. Okay, my system is suggesting 20 here. I'll just target that one only. But looks like 20 for me is too much. Let me say 15. Let me refresh that. Okay, you can see that 20 is too much. 15 is too small. Let's see the 20. Now I feel like bring this to 60. Okay, I think this is good. So let me make this bigger a bit, maybe 30 pixels. Yes, I think 30 pixels is preferable. All right, so similar thing I did with this border radius here. I will do same to the button. I'll just say border radius, so this time I'll set in 0 pixels, and then 20 pixels, and then 20 pixels for the bottom, and then for the bottom left I will just say 0 pixels. So that should give me a curve part of this. All right, then let's just copy this so that we don't need to write again. I'll just copy that so that I can have the same color. I think the background color is okay too. Another thing we can do, we can give a space padding, not padding this time around. The space outside is margin. Let's say margin right. Let's set margin right to maybe 20 pixels. So there will be space right here. Okay, I think it's wider than what we have. So let's say maybe 18 pixels. Perfect. Well, I think we are done with this. Let's quickly target the voice search button, which is this one. And how do we target that? The same thing. I'll just come over here, but then let me also give a class here. Let me call this class. Let me give this a class. Oh yeah, and then I'll target this class. Now if I want those icons to share the same style, I will just target both icons like this. We talked about this in our last class, and they will share the same style. So let me target that separately because I want to include padding. Let's say maybe, let's see 5 pixels. Let's see 5 pixels. And also set the display property to flex. I want the icon to be at the center, so I will align dash items center, and I will also to center it vertically and horizontally. That's why I'm using align item and justify content. Justify content center, obviously. Okay, so let's see what we have. Now okay, first off, let me remove this padding so that you can see what I'm about to do next. Border, okay, let me remove this. Let's do that in the button. We'll come back to that. Let me target the button. Voice the search btn. So I just put my style there. I didn't do anything. So same thing. Let me just copy this also so that they will have the same color. And let's set border radius. Let's set that to maybe 50 pixels so that it will be round like what we have here. And also let me give some padding. Let me give some padding. Let me give some padding. Let me give some padding, or maybe 5 pixels. So let me refresh, and let's compare that. I think it looks pretty much like mine, but then our own has borders. This one doesn't have border, so let's quickly adjust that. Let me remove this, and let's remove this border parts. There doesn't have border. So, but on hover, we discover the color changes a little bit. So what do we do? How do we achieve that? Let's target this button. Since they are of the same styles, instead of repeating the same thing, let me just target them dots. We'll target the search button, then we'll also target the voice search button together. So we want when it is hovered, when the mouse is placed on it, so we can use another pseudocode class here, which is hover, and then this other button when it is also hovered. So when you hover over it, we want to set the cursor to pointer. We also want to change the background color, background dash color. Let's say maybe black, at least so you see. So let's wait for it to refresh. So you see it's now changing to a pointer. My background color right here. So let's set this to a lighter color. Let me just say something light, maybe here, and let's see that. I think it still need to be lighter a little bit, maybe something there. Let's see, it's still not obvious. What's this? Okay, I think it's perfect like this. Compare, I mean, if you look at the big picture, similar to what we have. So we have to remove this border here. Let's remove that border there. On the voice search button, let's say border to none. So we'll get rid of that border right there. So that border is gone. So pretty much this is how the middle section looks like. And let's quickly go to the right section. the same idea, the same concept applies. So what do we have there? On the right section, let's locate the right section right here, this place. So I can see I have a button, I have an icon, and I have the picture there. So let's quickly bring in a button. We have a button there. Also, we have a button. Let's say create. I have an image source. Let's say the source, which is the direction. I think I have icons here. I have icons folder. I'll go into the icon. Okay, let's pick the notification. And then lastly, I have another image also. What's this? Where is this coming from? Image src, which is the source. Also, I will specify the file path where the image is located. I will just use the logo we made use of. I think it was the firm. I can't remember the name again. Yeah, the firm logo, the firm dash logo, the firm dash logo dot jpg. I hope I'm correct. Yes, I'm correct. So that is that. I have them on the page, but they are big, so I need to reduce them. So first off, let's give them a class. Let's give a class. Let's give it a class. Let's set the class of this one to, let's say, okay, profile picture. Let's give another class here. Let's say, okay, notification icon, great. Let's give another class to the button so that we can target it. Let's call this one create btn. Okay, so I think we now have everything we need. Let me see what's missing. Okay, nothing's missing, but quickly let me search for HTML. Okay, I don't know, my system tends to know what I'm looking for. Let me try this code. I'll just put it right beside the create here. That was the wrong one. Okay, I think this one. Let's go with this. So I went for the wrong one. So let's see if this one works. Okay, perfect. So let's begin our styling. First thing first, we need to go to the right section. Let me look for the right section. This is the middle. Okay, so let's style the right side now. Let's say the class side right, and let's put a comment here. Let's put a comment here, and let's say right section. So first thing, so that I can position those image or those icon very well, I will just set the display to flex. Set the display to flex, and I will also align the item. Okay, before I even go there, so that you see everything very well. Let me reduce their sizes. Let's target the notification icon, notification dash icon, notification icon. Let's set the height to something small, maybe 20 pixels. Maybe 20 pixels. And let me also target the profile dash picture. Let me set the width to something small, maybe 40 pixels. Height 40 pixels, and border radius, we'll make that round. I think it's a little bit big, maybe 35 pixels. So let's set the height of this to maybe 18 pixels. I mean, if you look at the bigger picture, these notifications, that was small. Let's make it bigger, maybe 30 pixels. Okay, I think everything is okay that way. So here we now will allow you to see what align item does. Oh, I've just been informed that I have 15 minutes left. So the align item will position the items in your container that you made to be flex. We place them at the center horizontally. So justify content, we do it vertically. So you see it's at the center like that. But that's not what we want to do. I will remove this. So the justify content center, we put them at the center vertically, while align item we put it at the center horizontally. But for this particular session, we'll be using another value of the justified content, which is the space between. Is going to put uh, spaces between the items. So all of them will be having spaces between them. I don't know why it's taking time to. All right, something like this. So let's target the button real quick. If at any point this class times out, I will quickly create another link and share so that we can conclude all this. So let's target the button right here, the create btn. Same thing applies. Let's set up let me see what my system is suggesting here. So it's giving the background color. We don't need this background color. We don't want border. Okay, I think it actually did a good job. So I will just change this one to black. The font size, okay. Let me reduce this font size a bit to something like 14 pixels. So, but you see, the plus here is bigger than what we have there. Let's see how we can achieve that. So I will bring up this padding to maybe 10. Then border radius, let's set the border radius to maybe 20 pixels. Okay, I think we have one background color we used the other time, right? This color. Let's bring it down here. Let's give it a background color. I have this registration somewhere. Let me remove that background color. So let me remove this. Let me just comment that out. Okay. Yeah. Let me bring the width here. My right here. Okay. What else? So we want to make this plus bigger. One way to achieve that is to wrap this entity in a span tag. We talked about block level element and inline level element. So an example of an inline element is a span tag. We can put that in a span tag here. In a span tag. So we just cut this out of here. And I'll put it in the span tag. So all I will just need to do now is to target the span. is an element, span tag. Oh. So I can set maybe the width, or let's set the size, font size. Let's increase that, and then margin right. I think my system pretty much did a good job. So let me refresh. We still need to increase it a bit. I have 9 more minutes. Let me bring it up to maybe 30 pixels. I think 30 pixels is too much. Okay. Now we didn't make it flex. Let's also make it flex. Let me bring back the 30 pixels. At least so you see what's going on. So the button itself, I can just change the display to flex, and once I made that flex, I can let's align item to center now, so that they can all be at the center. Let me increase this to maybe like 8 pixels, and let me bring this down a bit to maybe 25 pixels. The point is the same. We're just trying to make sense of certain things here. I actually make use of the shorter version. They use the longer version, but if you look at the bigger picture, they are the same thing. Let me see what else again. Margin right. Okay, let's reduce the top. I think it's too tall. Yeah, I think it's looking okay for me here. And maybe can make it to 15 pixels. Alright, great. I think this is okay for me. So I need over on that button. So I already have one. I will just copy this item and just add it up with this one here, so they can both have the same instead of writing it again. So they will share the same style. Okay, I think that's all about that. Now the next thing is, you can see the space we have there is too much compared to our own version here. So how do we resolve this? First of all, I need to increase. Let me go back to the middle section, or we can even, I think we set a width here, somewhere around here, right here. So let me see, maybe 200 pixel. 200 pixel should close that space a bit. Yeah, I think it does close that space a little bit. And I can go to the middle section. Right here, I can set maybe 650 pixel, or maybe 700 pixels. Let's see that. Okay, I think this works for me. But then if I reduce this page, This is the original Facebook, YouTube. You discover the text box is shrinking, but our own here doesn't shrink completely, but theirs shrinks completely right here. So let's make our own also shrink completely. So how do we achieve that? We'll just go to the middle section, the search bar here, and we set the width, we set it to 0, set it to 0. So setting it to 0 will allow it to shrink completely. So if you check now, you see it's now shrinking completely. Now another thing is, if you see, when we shrink to the minimum here, the icon on the left are now squeezing to each other. But if you look at the original version here, it looks like that item is not shrinking. So how do we achieve that? Let's go to our right section. Here's that here. So we just set flex dash shrink, flex dash shrink, shrink. We just set it to 0. So that right part will not shrink, just as you can see now. Okay. So it's not going to shrink, you see. So we have 2 minutes more. I will just end this class now. I will create another link so we can join with. All right. Brian, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So I will create another link so that you join. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've done justice to this page. One other thing I can see is there is a space by the left side here. So how do I do that? I told you space inside is called the padding. So I'll just go to my right section, right here. I will input a padding right of 20 pixels. Let's see, 20 pixels. Okay, I think it looks similar to what we have. So you can now see we have similar look with the YouTube page. There's still a lot of things that we can adjust, but at least the bigger picture, you can understand how we managed to get to this point. Okay, so the next part we probably might touch is where should we touch? Okay, let's do the left part. Let me adjust my window so that we can all see what's going on. Okay, so how do we achieve this left part? The same thing applies. we just need to add another div to create this part, and we'll do that below the header. Let me close up the header right here. Let's just do it right here. Let's create another div here. Let's create another div there, and let's give it a class of let's say sidebar. Let's go to my style here. Let's target sidebar. So to make it visible, I need to set up a definite width for it, suggesting 200 pixels. 200 pixels is too much. Let's say maybe 80 pixels. But right now you can't see the change. We have a style in our body already, if you remember. Let me just open that here. And in our body, let's set the padding left. Let's say maybe 80 pixels. Let's see what that gives us. 80 pixels. I think it's still way more wider there. Okay. I think this should be okay for us. So let's set a position for our sidebar. Let's set it to fixed, and let's set the top. I think the heading, we give it a height of 60 pixels, so we want 50 pixels distance from the top, and then left 0, and then bottom also 0, so that stretches. Okay, just give it a background color so that you see. Okay, if you can see that color right there, you see a light gray color there. Let me reduce this width to maybe 70. I think 70 is okay. So, but that's the whole picture. But then let's do one more thing. Let's create okay, so we set the width to 70 pixels. I think that's okay for us. I've actually removed the background color I was looking for. So what are we doing again? We want to set something here. We have how many? 1, 2, and 3, and 4 icons there. So let's just quickly set something dummy. I'll just set a div there. Let's set another div. Let's give it a class. Okay, it's suggesting sidebar item. Let's use that sidebar dash item. Let's go with that. I think I would like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there are about 4. Yeah, 4. About 4 of them. So we want to target the sidebar, you know, we want to target the sidebar items. Now you see we've given them a height. Let me increase the color so that you see what I'm doing. Actually, that's border color. Let's give it a solid color, a background color, a background color. Let's give it a background color. I forget I was muted. So let me give it a background color. A background color. Set the background color. Background dash color. Okay, that's what we are doing. So let me set something here. Let's actually give it a border button so that you see at least. We are still going to remove it just so you see what we are doing. So this is what we are doing, and we set a height of 60 because it's like what we have here is a bit taller. So let's make our own tall, maybe 70. Let me see what 70 gives us. 70 pieces. Wow, I think 70 pieces is okay that way. But then also we'll set this here. Now let's remove this border. We no longer need it. I just put it there for explanation purpose. So what do we do here? We'll set the height to this. Of course, since it's a block level element, it's going to assume the width of the container. Let's set border radius of well, maybe let's say border radius of 10 pixels. Let's see what that gives us. Well, I think 10 pixels is okay. Pixels is okay for us. I mean, yeah, 10 pixels is okay. But if you see, it's like our height is not as tall as what we have here. So let's see if we increase the height to maybe 75. That should be as tall as this. 30 pixels. Okay, I think that should be okay. Then maybe my width here. Can reduce this width to maybe 60. Okay, I think it's okay for me like this. So we want to remove this background color. How do we target that? We want to target all these elements. So we'll say that sidebar item. So when it's When you hover on it, we want this background color. So I'll remove this from the style, and then I will just put it here. So now if I overrun, it's gonna display. So this is what we are trying to achieve. Another thing, we can set it anywhere actually. Maybe cursor, set that to pointer. Alright. So let's quickly impute certain things here. I will put an image, let's say image src. I think icons. I think I have one there. Then let me use a div also. Let me use a div here to just write home. Okay, I think my system is trying to, let me see what my system has to offer. It has automatically detected some icons. I'm trying to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think let's just make do with what we have there. So maybe the last one here, I can just say you. Let's change explore to shots. Let's work with what we have. Okay, how do we style this? First off, let's target the image. Now I will show you another way to style. I want to target all the image inside the sidebar item. So I'll say sidebar item. I'll target all the image. My system seems to know what I want to do. So sidebar item, we can change the font. Let's say the font family. Then let's take a smaller font. Font size, something small, maybe 10 pixels. I think it's of the same size, basically. So what do we do next? We target the sidebar item, change the display to flex. By default, the flex direction is going to be row, but we want them in column, so we are saying column, and then we align item to the center. So this is what we have. This is how we get to this point. Of course, you see this one seems to be way more easier, but one other thing you will discover is there is a bit of space in between the icon here and the text here. So how do we do that? Where can we place that? We can actually place it on the image. You can place it on the image right here. You can just say margin bottom. All right, 5 pixels. Does that work? Let's see that. Yeah, I think it does. So I think there's something somewhere. So we have to get rid of this margin top. Okay. So here, justify, content center, and everything is going to sit at the very center. Voila. This is the left side navigation of the typical Facebook page. I know the icons are different, but if you look at the bigger picture, they are the same. Okay. Quickly, let's look at these other parts of it, and let's see how we can achieve that, and then maybe we'll call it a day. Let me bring this down so that at least we can see. So I will just go, I can put that actually after the heading too. So I will just say maybe, let me say div, let's give it a class. Let me say maybe top navigation actually, navigation. So right here, I can also use div. I don't want to use button. I just want to use div. Let's use div. Let's use div. What do I there? All music live. Just a few items. Say all. Okay, music live. Chelsea FC. I have podcast. I have AI. And maybe let me just do the last one and remove this one. We just have penalty kicks. Penalty kicks. Okay, let's quickly style this. Let's quickly style this. Let me move this to the end so that we can see. Okay, at least we can see them side by side. All right, quickly, how do we achieve this now? First off, let's give some class here. This top class, I'll just start with this. And let me go to my CSS part right here. Close this guy. Okay, let's say we start that, and let me give a comment here that this is my top navigation right there. First, I'll set the display. But before I do the display, one of the things we can do, let me move this so that I can see the edge. And let me move this also. Now we can set up the position. Let's start with position. Let's set that to fix. Now from top, okay, let's see. I think my system is actually suggesting certain things here. And I think this suggestion worth it actually, because it calculated the left side item here. Let me see, sidebar, which is 66, and the header also. So that was why I set the left to 66 here. I think my system actually did a good job. Yes, very easy. So another thing I could do is, okay, before I do that, let's go to the divs. So let me target the top navigation and target divs. I think it has helped me achieve a lot here. I think it has helped me a lot. Let's see. Right. Basically, I just need to add a few things. That's all. So let me say background color of this, background color of that, and let's say font size. Let's say font size. Let's set font size. So let me see, 12 pixels. All right, let's do 13 pixels. Let's do 13 pixels. I think 13 pixels is okay. But the padding, I think the padding is also okay. What we have issue with is the border radius. Let's say maybe 8 pixels. 8 pixels. Then this one maybe 14 pixels. And then let's set where do we have the fonts? Yes, let's say font weight. Let's set that to bold. It's bold. Let me reduce this to 13 pixels. Basically. So let me reduce to maybe 12. I think this works well. I think that works well. Stop that. I think mixes. How damn is that? Okay, let's say maybe session basically. Okay, let me just alright, so sorry, I was trying to reply to the message. Okay, so the header, we'll say we give it a background color of white. So we now have that sorted. The next problem is these items we added here are covering part of our details here. So how do we do that? We'll go back to our style. Remember we added a height of what's the height again? Top navigation of 50 pixels. So we are going back to our heading, and the padding top we had 50 here, which is 130. So let's just say maybe 140 pixels now, so that it can push it down. Right, I think that is also sorted. That is also sorted. If you want, you can add other item along this place. We have this one having a dark background. Simply we just, to demonstrate that, let's just add a close to this place. Let's say maybe item all, and right here let's just target that class. Let's target item all, and we'll just give a background color of black, background color black, and color white basically. So let me refresh. Why is it not affecting? Let's take a look. It should work actually. So actually don't know why it's not working. Background color should work. Okay, I think we have something like that. Let's just select it on. It should work basically. Or maybe let's give it an ID instead. Oh, I think I was naming the wrong thing. think we've not used an ID since the class. I just use a dollar sign here. Okay, I think it will. So this is how you reference an ID in HTML or CSS. So, well, basically, if you look at the bigger picture, that's what we have. So the next thing we might try to do now is maybe let's try this. Whatever we do on this place is what is achievable on the timestamp there. You see the same thing. But then let's just work with this and see what we can do. So we just go straight to the header. Header is here. On the left side, right here now. Yes, right. Notification. Now to achieve this kind of style, we need to use two position combined, which is a position relative and a position absolute. I explained this concept in, I think, in the last class. Yes. So we just set up two divs here. Let me set one div here, one div here, and let me bring this inside, and let me put in another div here, another div here. Okay, I think this is okay. Notification icon. Let's give this a class of notifications. Container. Okay, so we need this to start this. Let's say notification container, and then I'll need also notification badge. Also need to sign that. All right, so it's already trying to suggest the background color, and let's just see what it has. Okay, I think it has helped us. So let's set fonts family, font dash family to Arial. So one of the things I can do here is to, but before I do that, let me set the position of this to relative. I don't need the inline block, please. Now while here, I'll set the position to absolute. This is all I need. So I need to set the top and right value here. Now it looks like my div. Let me set a background color here so that you see what I'm doing. Let's say maybe gray. Yes, so you see initially the background was stretched, so I think I've solved that. So we can do a few things here, maybe 3. Let me break it down more, maybe 2. And I think I'm seeing a border, 2 solid white. Then I think this red is a little bit dark. I mean, what else? let me reduce the font to something 10. I think we are having okay. I think everything works well. Yes. I think everything works well. Maybe 18. Yeah, I think everything is okay. Let me increase this to maybe 12. Perfect. So this is what we have done so far. The same idea can be used to achieve the timestamp that we have on it. This timestamp here. The same thing we did on here. So you can make it point as a pointer the way we are doing. It's all your choice. So I give this to you as a challenge to go and I think okay, it doesn't affect it. You can actually try to see how to complete it. It's already done. Just a few things. For instance, if you look, there is a space here. How do we quickly put that? It's all about going to our body. I'll put a padding, right? 90 pixels is too much, bro. Let's say 30 pixels. 30 pixels. Yeah, it's just too okay for that. So this is the whole journey. This is where we have learned. So you can try to put this timestamp on your on the thumbnails. Just follow the same system we did while we are putting this, and you get to the page. So I hope you learn one or two. I'm expecting to see your own design. So I will challenge us to try and clone maybe Facebook page or LinkedIn. Just try and see how you can put everything we've learned so far to building that page. Uh, I want to say thank you for applying for the scholarship and for attending the classes. I hope to see you in future doing well, and please don't stop coding. Always try to get your hand dirty. Don't stop learning. Learning doesn't end. Every opportunity you have, please do well to learn. Have a good night rest, and I wish you a successful journey. God bless you.